compound, you will meet all walks of life, and you will learn from them. You will, you will be challenged by them. You may even fear some of them. And that too is what happens when you go into a new environment that is unfamiliar to yourself. And it's a hostile environment, which has been made incredibly clear right out of the gate. Part of the images that you see here are more so to set the tone of, what different chambers, classrooms, just open spaces, what that looks like. The centerpiece, let me draw you to the centerpiece right here. How about I ask the question of, what do you all interpret? How do you all interpret the center picture after what you've learned about the book?
It looks kind of like an iris scan.
It reminds me of the inside of Iron Man's mask, Jarvis.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. What about you, Patrick?
Well, yeah, I don't really have the I don't really associate with things like Iron Man, because I really don't watch movies about superheroes and that. It doesn't. Yeah, it's not my thing. But it's very much a futuristic thing. I like the fact that she's got very African features. Yes, we're going to Nigeria. But in a very futuristic way. And of course, being the old man I am, I grew up in a science fiction world that was all white. So I find this quite refreshing.
Thank you so much.
Hi, this is Diane. Yeah, I can hear you guys. Yes.
Perfect. Well, welcome to the party. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. What a wonderful image I'm seeing.
The center image, I'd lead you with that because it's exactly a retinal scan. Julie, nail on the head. It's also it's also my interpretation of what a recruit, I guess, what a recruit would see, what it would look like. Wesley, to your point, if you could see inside the mask, right, without the mask, and what's really happening, because you realize that, or you learn that the artificial intelligence that governs the compounds, IFA, by way of a device that you learn about that recruits receive within the first few, let's call it the first hour of arriving, the OOTP, which is essentially a wristlet, is connected to your body. And then you start to learn, why has this piece of device connected to my body? Why is that important? The only way you can live in this compound is if you can come and go as you please within the walls of the compound. And even then, you learn that you aren't able to come and go as you please. You're actually on a very set schedule, even down to when you sleep, eat, and when you can use the communal facilities. So then it starts to become more like a military base, or some people have said a prison system. And we've heard many different ways to describe this of a, what do you call it? A boarding school. We've heard.
Can I ask a question? Can I ask a question?
Jump in.
Okay. The thing you described, like boarding school or prison, or the fact that you don't have the freedom to decide when you do whatever, it also sounds a little bit like the Borg in Star Trek. Or is it less like so? Because they all have like one conscience and one mind and one, So it sounds a bit like the Borg. Yeah.
I'll take your word for it. Not as familiar with the Borg. I am a recent Star Trek fan.
Okay. Okay.
but you are spot
Well,
on.
7 of 9 is one of the characters, and I'm very happy with her. They used her like as a vehicle for people to understand what the Borg is about. Her name is 7 of 9. But okay, as you're a recent Trekkie, you'll catch up. You'll catch up. But it sounds like the Borg. Yeah. Do continue. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. Well, in the first installment, you'll start to, you'll have class in some of these environments. You will spend time in the library. You will spend much time with Aoife just communicating with Aoife as if you would your cell phone. That's also the intent behind the hard technology connect via the Ordi, is that it's essentially your cell phone. When you start to reread the descriptions of how individuals start to use their Ordi, I'm hoping that you think, wow, you're really attached to this thing, and you're like, oh my gosh, what am I attached to? That's a device, right? And so I wanted to draw those parallels with one another. So as far as, do they have a hive mind? No. The recruits they think for themselves, but they, essentially,
but their
think of
actions are monitored.
Their actions are monitored. Their health is monitored.